before I press play, Urameshi. Whatever kind of mission it is, there's no way I'm getting involved.
Okay, just start the tape.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Scott, and welcome to episode 4 of our YuYu Hakusho recap podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be ripping through episodes 12, 13, 14, and 15 of the classic YuYu Hakusho. And later on in the show, we're going to be talking about the types of series that were animated or inspired, not animated, inspired by this classic series. As I said before, my name is Scott, and I'm here joined as always with Ollie. Hi, Ollie.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How's things? What's going on? Before we get into that, because I definitely want to hear your answer to this. This is the first episode we've recorded in 2024. So welcome to the new year. Here at Helga House Productions, we've got a lot of incredible things planned for you in the next year, and we're really looking forward to seeing how much and how far we can push our shows here at Helga House.
Yep.
So, Ollie, how are you? What's going on? How are your holidays?
Holidays were awesome. Holidays were expensive. Theme parks gouge you.
Oh,
what
God.
else did I learn? Oh, it's going to be a double New Year for some people. Chinese Lunar New Year.
Oh, yeah,
Next
that's
week.
coming up.
It's a thing.
When is Chinese New Year this year?
February 10th, next Saturday.
Sweet. What's it going into the year of? Because this was the year of the rat, wasn't it?
Year of the Dragon. We're getting
moving
into the Dragon.
And what is it? What was it this year?
I think, was it Rooster?
Rooster?
Rat was like a couple of years ago.
Right.
Let's see. Current.
While he's looking that up,
Chinese.
we are not going to waste any time because we do have quite a bit to get through on this episode today. And so...
Oh my God, there's so much information. No, never mind. It was a year of an animal.
Great. Love that.
Yep.
So, Chinese New Year's coming up, so happy Chinese New Year. Anyway, so like I said, this is going to be a pretty packed episode. We've got a lot to get through, a lot to chat about. So what do you say we go ahead and dive right in?
Let's go.
So getting back into Yu Yu Hakusho for the first time in a while, I realized how much fun this series is. We open up with Yusuke versus Rando, the 99 attacks. Unfortunately, we don't actually see 99 attacks, but that's okay. So this episode originally came out on January 9th, 1993 in Japan, and was released in North America on May 18th, 2002. So almost like a 10-year difference. And that's something that like we haven't really talked about too much yet about the fashion and the styling of the anime, about how it is definitely a 90s anime in 100%. Style and 100%. Scope.
Love the drip.
But came out in the early 2000s here for us.
I think even though it came out like 10 years after, it's a good, how do I say it? It's a good look back on how like the fashion culture and they basically highlight a subculture in Japan called like the bancho.
And the sukiban.
The sukiban, right?
Yeah. And we're definitely going to use a half episode to cover the history of the bancho and the sukiban.
Oh, dude, I would love to.
Tell you what.
I would love to.
I'll tell you what. Let's use that for next week.
Yeah, dude.
The next episode of the show, we're going to do a history on the bancho and the sukiban.
Palate cleanser, if you may. Right?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a good palate cleanser, dude.
Yeah, we do talk a lot about anime. By the time we talked about something different.
Culture.
So, unfortunately, the first thing we see is Kuwabar's arm being broken. Again, they use that as the first, as the opening image. And so if you weren't cringing before, you certainly are now. Just to remind you of how painful that was. And again, something about Rando's design just feels off.
He's a dick.
For sure. He's
a dick.
awful. Like, the voice performance is phenomenal. Like, it's a great performance. But
You know
something
what?
about his design just
Yeah.
throws me off.
For the record, you know how I am super against watching anime in sub, right? No,
Is it
in
sub
dub.
or you don't
In
like
dub.
dubs?
I don't like dubs. But you know, it kind of grew into me, man.
You watched the dub?
It kind of grew into me. I don't know. I like the
So,
voice actor for Kuwabara. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like the
yeah, Chris Sabat's
husky.
a genius.
Yeah, I was like, this is not bad. This is good. I think it's the voice actor that puts you off of Rando. He's a kid, right? He's a kid. He looks like a monk
Well,
kid.
Shorin didn't really have any kind of an effect on me. The character that was Rando's disguise didn't really affect me at all. But like when he was finally revealed, just something about him threw me off. And I'm wondering now if this is the point, or if Togashi was still still learning how to design villainous characters. Because at this point, the only villainous characters we've dealt with are Hiei, Kurama, and Goki.
How do I say this? Kurama and Hiei straight up gives me like the frenemies vibe,
Right,
right?
right.
Shuren compared to what's the name of the yeah, you know, the contract killer guy?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That
Give me 2 seconds.
that guy gives me the menace vibes. Like this guy's a scum, straight up. But like I think that's what throws you off because like Shuren doesn't give you, you know, he's a scumbag, right?
Cabano was the other guy's name.
Cabano. Yeah. Cabano straight up menace.
Mhm.
But Shuren, you know he's a menace, but like it's like handing a kid a Kinder Surprise with a fucking grenade in it. I think that's how it feels like. That's why it throws you off. It's like a Hello Kitty grenade. It's like pink. And then the shrapnels have Hello Kitty little markings on it.
But again, like the idea that Shorin was the bad guy, that Shorin was Rando the whole time, that's not what bothers me. It's just something about Rando's like physical design has always thrown me off. Anyway, I'm sure we talked about it in the last episode, but it's always thrown me off a little bit. But I love that everyone in Koenma's office is watching the fight. Everybody's stopped what they're doing to watch the fight. And this is something we're going to see a lot more throughout the series.
I'm going to cut you off here. I'm going to send you something. If you compare what Rando looks like in the series and then you look at the manga drawing of Rando.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. You would be like, okay, the manga drawing of Rando straight up looks menacing.
Okay, let's have a look here.
Check that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the manga version is definitely better.
Right?
Yeah, maybe it's a case of, I think it might just be a case of poor adaptation.
Yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see like the actual manga drawing, the full body manga drawing of Rando. He looks like a proper menace.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you got me there. I think that it's just a matter of poor adaptation.
Yeah, it could be, but you know, 90s.
Yeah, for sure, adapted to the style, style for sure. And that's something else that we're going to be covering eventually is the studio behind the animated adaptation.
Listeners, if you're listening to this, check out, type in Rando YuYu Hakusho and look up his manga drawing, and then you'd see it side by side, the anime screenshot, and then manga drawing. The manga drawing is really it's something.
Yeah,
it's something.
I'll give you that. I'm not sure how I feel about the life force thread technique. It was giving me real ick vibes while he was like putting it out.
Life force thread technique. Okay, yeah.
The one
what
where
kind
he
of what kind of icks you up
and just swings him through the trees. It feels like Rando has like a level of insecurity about being feared by his enemies.
Yeah, I think he needs that ego boost, ego stroking. I mean, like he's a demon, dude.
Well, he's a human hunting demon, and it's incredible that he's been able to get through. He's lived for so many years without being spotted or hunted or found.
How come he never like went after Genkai?
I think this may have been his first like time running into her. I wonder if Genkai
Knew it all along.
or so if Genkai knows that she's a like that Botan is a Grim Reaper, why does she think she knows better than Botan in terms of like jumping in to help Yusuke? Like again, I worry that Botan has become so much more focused on being Yusuke's assistant that we forget that she's an ethereal being, that she's not human, she's not demon, she's literally a Grim Reaper,
Okay.
and therefore
That
probably
being
is a.
said, she's fighting demons in the city with a baseball bat,
We do see that later, and that is pretty cool.
right? Why is she worried about getting bonked in the head with a baseball bat?
Like
She's ethereal. That should
that's
just go through her.
like there's so many like seems like sacrifices in character and logic for the service of the story that work
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
story, but don't
I mean,
quite work out.
Let's
like-
try to justify Bota. Maybe she's in her human form.
Right, but is she stuck in her human form?
Maybe she can just go in and out of it at will.
That's what I'm saying. If she can go in and out of her human form at will, do the Grim Reapers of this universe actually have spiritual abilities?
They better.
Or are they only able to transport people between realms? Like, do they actually have defensive abilities of their own?
Like a limited power.
Like maybe they
yeah.
don't. Like maybe there's a cultural thing that we're missing here where Botan is actually just the person who ferries people back and forth. Like that's all she does. That's all she can do. Maybe.
This is a rabbit hole, man.
We are falling way too far down.
Yeah. But just to like give you a clear definition of what a Shinigami is, while the Shinigami are often compared to the Grim Reaper, they're generally represented in Japanese folklore more as facilitators of the natural cycle of life.
Okay. So they're typically more, they're facilitators, like you said. They're administrators and facilitators.
They're not combatants or anything.
Okay. Fair enough.
So hence the baseball bat. I would assume that.
Which we see in the next episode.
Yep.
So we find out that Rando can summon beasts from other planes when he summons like the deathfish.
I wouldn't call that a beast, dude. That's kind of overselling it.
Okay, he can summon creatures.
Fish.
In this case, fish from other dimensions, and also Kuwabara can astral project.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, given his like unconscious level of spiritual control.
Yeah.
Like
sensitivity, more like.
It kind of makes sense, and how interesting that Yusuke can't see his own energy. So Kuwabara is able to see Yusuke's energy, but Yusuke can't see his own.
Man, you know what? This spiritual energy thing, it's starting to be similar with like BO. No, man, like hear me out. Like, does a person with BO know and smell that they have BO? No. It's going to be another person, right?
Who's going to notice and smell it?
Right? It's another person that will tell them, like, because they're like nose blind. So like, hey man, you stink. No, I don't. Like, yeah, you do. Maybe that's the logic. I can't see my own energy, but I can see yours.
Maybe. And Yusuke's only way out of this whole thing was simply to yell at Kuwabara, "This is my job." So it's almost like Yusuke is starting to like really identify with being a spirit detective.
Yep.
That
he's starting to own up to it.
He's found a thing that he's good at and that he can do to serve other people. And that it's become something that he's gonna go on to have more of a deeper connection to the idea of. So we see the blaster counter go up to 5 on Rando. Now this okay, so when Rando comes out of the water, or Rando doesn't die from the spirit bomb, from the spirit gun, it
I
kind
was
of
gonna
feels like,
scream. Yusuke has a spirit bomb. Like, damn.
well, not yet, he doesn't. But it kind of feels like when he steps out of the water, like when Frieza took the spirit bomb and got up and kept fighting. Like it's the same like
Yeah.
feeling. You know what
It's
I
like
mean?
that's your strongest thing. Whatever.
And then the fact that like Yusuke's so burnt out that he's like, I can't even tell if he's talking because he was saved by the pond scum in his ear, which reflected back Ranto's incantation.
Yeah, shrunk him.
To which Yusuke saves the day with the people's elbow.
Dude, I love it so much. I was like, what? What?
Like it's lucky and it's silly, but it's done in such a way and it's shown in such a way that like
It's comical, dude.
it kind of makes sense.
I mean,
Like in a weird
sure.
way, kind of
Very
makes
weird.
sense.
Dude, did you see how much shit he pulled out from his ear? I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a lot of gut.
How did that get in there? Like, ugh.
So, moving right along into the next episode, The Beast of Maze Castle, released on January 16th, 1993 in Japan, and May 25th, 2002 in North America. So clearly there is no rest for the wicked, as we're right back into the next adventure 6 whole months later. Now we say no rest for the wicked is the first time skip we've seen of the series. But what's so interesting is that after an arc like the Genkai tournament, you would think you would get a training arc. You'd think you'd get a whole like thing of training. But one thing that Yu Yu Hakusho does is it almost always skips its training arcs.
It does.
You don't see the characters get stronger, but instead you get to see get to jump right into the characters showing off those new strengths. Like Yusuke showing off his new shotgun. But in a lesser series than Yu Yu Hakusho, you would have probably had a filler training arc.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about this show that you're going to come to notice, is that this series is so tight and has absolutely zero filler pretty much whatsoever.
They just go at it.
I wonder, though, if that is a bit of a hankering on the show because of the fact that the show is always moving so quickly. You don't necessarily get the time to spend with some of these characters that you would in filler.
To give you like a more sense of development as an individual character. That would be nice, but I mean, like, I'd say they executed pretty okay.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like it's the series is all the better for it. And I had a conversation with another one of our friends recently about this whole situation, about how like sometimes I miss a little bit of filler once in a while, because you do
but not
get to
too
see,
much.
No, for sure. We're not looking for Naruto or anything here.
Oh God.
Like Naruto post the Sasuke fight.
Yeah, so much filler.
Levels of filler before Shippuden, but a little bit here and there to like help us to get to know the characters better, to see them in different situations, to see them interact with each other in more ways.
But
I don't think it's a negative thing.
Yeah,
What's
but
that?
the way they did it is like, little flashbacks of Yosuke's training.
Right.
Like, his finger on that spike and stuff like that. I mean, I
Mhm.
guess that's their attempt to show the training.
It's the start of something. It definitely
it
gives us an idea of how much Yusuke was put through, which is something that we don't get to see for real time, but we do get to see the flashbacks of, and that's definitely something that's worth knowing and worth seeing and worth showing. I find it weird that by this point, Keiko still doesn't know anything about any of this.
I feel bad for that girl, to be honest.
Like,
I really do, man. Like the
like,
amount of shit she puts up with.
why wouldn't he just tell her?
Like,
Like we've talked about before, she's
yeah.
been there for him this entire time.
Man, how many girls will run into a fire to get your dead body out of it, right? Like,
Exactly.
wife her up, dude. Seriously. Like,
Wife her up.
yeah,
That's
wife her
the
up.
takeaway here.
Come on. Like, don't be like that.
Yeah. It's something that again, why doesn't he just tell her? Why isn't he just honest with her? And he is honest with her eventually. He does tell her everything eventually, but like, man, like, just be honest with her. It feels like the animation's gotten a little bit better in this episode as well, and the art style is starting to develop a little bit more from and you see it in the manga as well. Like the first couple of volumes of the series are very caricature drawn, very basic and very flat characters. As time goes on, you do start to see the characters get more and more developed and more detailed and more shaded. So they get in. So Yusuke and Kuwabara end up in a fight with these dudes who are already pulling knives, and it's as if it's something that they eventually expected to happen. Like Kuwabara's reaction, and just like, oh, they're already pulling knives. We haven't even started yet. And that they just take out.
So
They take out.
is he telling us that, like, oh, this is a normal thing? They pull out knives in a fist fight. This is just too early. Like,
I
what
think
the
this
hell?
is just normal for them.
Well, I mean,
Because they do just they take them out really quickly.
it's just what? How old are these kids
They're
at this point?
14.
Oh, okay, fine. I guess that's fine. Dude, I got growing up. Okay, for the patrons, they know where I was born and raised, and growing up in that country, I got a knife slash on my face. I got into a knife fight. Didn't have a knife on me, but the other guy had a knife. I was 14, 15 back then.
Jesus.
Yeah, it didn't go his way.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Getting sort of back into things.
Yep.
They take those guys out like it's nothing. And then we see Botan in her best metal bat costume from One Punch Man. You can't look at that design and tell me that the guy who wrote One Punch Man didn't take at least a little bit of inspiration from Metal Bat.
I mean, Metal Bat is pretty cool.
Metal Bat is very cool.
I love that character in One Punch Man. Pretty cool. He's straight up a bancho.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
100%. Anyways, again, for our listeners, we are thinking of doing a palate cleanser, if you may, Scott. I don't know what you want to call it, but like a little like quick talk about like subcultures and specifically about the Asukeban and the Bancho culture, whatever is related to that. We're just gonna dabble a little bit, inject some culture.
So that'll hopefully be on the next episode of this show. So we notice that like the Saint Beast plan that Botan explains to them is like your basic extortion plan, which is certainly interesting. And it's the
sounds crimey.
Real crimey. It's
okay.
It's almost too real. Because at this point, the Saint Beasts who are in spirit world, not in demon world, which is a very important thing that's going to come up later on.
I wasn't listening to that right. They're not
Maze so this is something that isn't necessarily explained, but Maze Castle, where the boys get sent to, is in spirit world.
Okay.
The
same realm as
Koenma.
As Koenma. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not in demon world. It's not.
That makes sense. Okay. Carry on.
So Yusuke and Kuwabara get sent to spirit world in order to take down these 4 Saint Beasts to get the whistle to prevent their extortion plan, which is to release all these insects into the human world, which cause people to go mad and like get super violent and give into their most violent urges. and the only way that the Saint Beasts are willing to pull them back is with this whistle, and they'll only blow the whistle or play the flute if Spirit World drops the barrier between their world, between Spirit World and the human world.
That's not good.
So this is the first mention of that barrier, of the barriers between the worlds at all.
Okay.
Okay, which is something that does come up much later. So Hiei and Kurama show up after Yusuke and Kuwabara nearly get overwhelmed by these little gremlins.
They look like, what do you call those guys? The Star Wars. You know those in Star Wars, those little hooded.
Yes. Yep.
What do you call those guys? Those, you know what I'm talking about.
Jawas.
Those guys. Yeah, those guys.
Yep.
It reminded me of them. I was like, oh, I've seen these guys before.
Do you remember that episode? Are you able to read the kanji?
No.
Okay. That's okay. So Hiei and Kurama enter as balls of light for some reason. They never do this again.
And there's a what?
So Hiei and Kurama channel their inner Power Ranger and show up on the field as balls of light.
Was that them doing that, or were they sent in?
Regardless, they never do it again. It happens only once.
I never thought of that.
So, while it's cool, they never once do it again.
Maybe, wait. Yosuke and Kuwabara got dunked in, right?
Yes. Fully human, fully formed. They, appeared 4 feet above the ground and landed.
So you're telling me these two can turn into balls of light at will?
Apparently.
Really handy skill to have. I'm just gonna put it out there, because if those bastards can turn into balls of light,
why did they fight through the whole castle? So this is also the very first time that all 4 of our characters meet together, and this is where I want to bring up the RPG composition of our core group. So I may have mentioned this before off camera, but the 4 main heroes of YuYu Hakusho fall very easily into 4 main RPG roles.
Okay. Oh, archetypes. Yeah.
Exactly. So Yusuke is a monk or a gunslinger, one of the two, however you want to figure that out. Hiei is a rogue. Kuwabara is a knight. Kurama is a mage. And Botan is your priestess.
I'm trying to recall a time Botan healed anybody.
In the she heals Keiko, keeps Keiko from opening her third eye when Yusuke fights Hiei.
Oh. Okay. I just pulled this
She
up.
She also heals Kurama when Kurama stabs himself on Hiei's sword.
Nuts. Okay. Fair. Pop quiz for you. What do you think is Hiei's height?
With or without his hair?
With?
Okay. 4'7".
Ready for the answer?
I'm ready for the answer.
4'10".
Oh, I was so close. Oh, that's real close.
But he grew.
What?
He will grow. This is canon, man. This is canon information I have here.
Okay.
So he grew to 5'3".
By the end of the series.
At the end of the series.
So, Yusuke is absolutely right. They are the perfect team. And it kind of feels like the Gate of Betrayal is added to add tension at the end of the episode. But it also works really well for character development. And it really shows us the situation.
I never thought about it that way. The way you popped out, they're like a perfect party. The combination.
They really
okay.
They really are a solid team, and they really do sort of cover each other's weaknesses. Kurama is more level-headed. Hiei is a powerhouse. Yusuke is a hothead
all-rounder, I guess.
Well, he's also got the most trust in his team, which you're going to see in the next episode. And Kuwabara is loyal to a fault.
Very.
And these 4 people are going to grow to have their own dynamics among each other too. Something you already kind of see happening or starting to happen. So in the Gate of Betrayal, the next episode, Genbu the Stone Beast, released on January 23rd, 1993 in Japan and June 8th, 2002 in North America, we pick up right where the team left off with regards to the Gate of Betrayal. And I wonder if Kurama thought that Hiei was going to leave them all behind. Because
I think no.
Hiei got out quick. But those two know each other. They've worked together before.
Yeah.
And it's super impressive that Yusuke was the one to put together a plan as fast as he did. Because Yusuke has trust in all of his allies, even if they don't trust each other.
I guess it's also because of Hiei's portrayal that he's street smart, right?
He's super street smart. Like
He's
Hiei,
he's up the streets.
and not to mention how he's like waiting for the gremlin to give him all of the information before he pulls the switch.
Right.
Because as soon as the gremlin says, the boulder would have killed you anyway, he's like, I knew it. I knew there was something more. Kills the thing,
Wow.
pulls the switch, gets out of the way.
You're right.
Also, notice that Yusuke's aura, when holding up the gate, is red.
Right.
Up until now, his aura has always been blue. And you're going to find out at the end of this arc, sort of, that his energy has changed since the beginning of the series. So Botan is holding down the fort on the other side in the human world. Now, it's never explained what sort of monsters the Saint Beasts are. Are they demons, ghosts, spirits, gods, monsters? Like, we know that they're based on the 4 Saint Beasts of the Chinese mythology.
Yeah.
But we don't actually know anything more about them.
I think the backstory of those is like they're the strongest ones in that world, and they just like get revered by the other demons and monsters as gods.
Right, but again, they're in spirit world. So like,
they're not demons.
That's what I'm saying. Are they like apparitions?
No.
Are they legends of
way.
folklore?
Look at Koenma's assistants. They're ogres.
Right. They're monsters.
They're monsters.
Yeah.
So I'd say they're monsters too. I mean,
well, we know that okay. So we know that spirit world is home to different ghosts and apparitions and monsters. Home to many mythical beasts as well.
I guess that's the best explanation to it, dude.
So are the Saint Beasts are actually just the beasts from the Chinese mythology? And is there something to be said about Togashi's choice to cast Chinese beasts as villains?
Yeah, I guess it's just reference, man.
It could mean nothing, and I could just be reading into this 30-year-old anime too far, but just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, even the style, right? Look at like in the later seasons of the series, Kurama's fashion becomes pretty Chinese, if you so to speak, right?
Yeah, in the Dark Tournament, a little bit more so. Yeah. Kuwabara goes full samurai.
No, Kuwabara goes full on Bosuzoku.
Well, you're gonna tell me all about that later on.
You know those biker dudes in Japan? Full trench coats, white.
Oh.
That's a Bosuzoku.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
okay.
He goes full Bosuzoku.
So, do you think, sort of off the cuff here, do you think that Hiei and Kurama are a couple?
Nah.
Okay. Just the way that they talk about each other's battle powers, about how
he's scared of Kurama. I was shocked. Like, what?
Like, and this is the first time we see Kurama fight. And like the fact that Hiei is terrified of him off the get. You said if there's one person I never want to meet in the ring, it's Kurama.
I can hypothesize on this one. One, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, like thinking like I would shoot you with a seed and
game over.
Plants will like sprout all over you. Like, okay, I don't want to go that way. I would rather be slashed by Hiei, man. He ain't
Mhm.
straightforward. He will cut you up. Kurama is like, I'm gonna plant the seed and this will grow. It's like aliens chest buster level kind of icky, like heebie-jeebies. I don't want that.
And they do a really good job of like making us think that Kurama is actually worried about this fight. When by the time it ends, you're like, Genbu never had a chance.
No.
The fact that Kurama instantly figured out Genbu's weak point, immediately took him out.
Yeah.
Like, take a piece of his brain, literally like a piece of his brain, cut it in half, and now Genbu can't put himself together, and like, that's it, game over. GG's. Peace out, on to the next beast.
You know how Kurama he seems to like to observe how things flow? He was taking damage while
He
like
was.
Genbu like takes himself apart, shoot himself across the room, put himself back together. I hit you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Genbu's just dumb to begin with.
So many of these fights are exciting or different based on where they take place more than the characters involved. So, for example, I don't know if the Cabano, like we talked about in the last episode, I don't know if the Cabano fight would have been as exciting if it wasn't in the dark.
I would love to see that.
It'd be cool to see, but I don't know if it would be as exciting. I don't know if the Hiei fight, when Yusuke fights Hiei, would have been as exciting if it wasn't for the stakes of Keiko about to be awoken as a demon. Like, there's just so much more to these fights than it's just two people fighting each other.
That's true.
I don't know if Genbu would have been as threatening if it wasn't for the fact that he can melt into the walls.
Genbu should have just like kept his heart hidden within the walls, like never show it to Korra, right?
Obviously not, but like we don't see that. And so in the next episode, we move on to the next beast, which is Byaku the White Tiger, aired on January 30th, 1993 in Japan and June 15th, 2002 in North America. This is the last episode we'll be covering today. And I really wish that more people had more faith in Kuwabara, Yusuke included.
My boy. Come on.
Like, it's real nice that he was using that he can use his sword and he can train, that he was training to use it without having to be told to. Like, he taught himself how to use it. And I just wish that more people had more faith in Kuwabara, because he does come through on more than one occasion, even if it looks like he's gonna not make it.
Among the four, who do you think is the most popular one?
Most popular? Like most people like?
Mm-hmm. Among the four, rank them.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think.
Because I got a result here. There was a poll that was did in Japan.
Yep.
That had 3,000 votes. Now,
wow.
Among the four, rank the top four.
Okay. Who are they? I don't know.
Number 1, Kurama.
Yeah, okay.
Pisses me off.
Yeah, of course it does. You hate Kurama.
Number 2, guess who number 2 is?
Hiei?
Yep.
And then Yusuke Kuwabara.
No, actually Kuwabara is number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Most people didn't like Yusuke.
Nope, they didn't.
Huh.
Maybe because it's pretty vanilla. It's like, his main character, right?
Yeah.
But Kurama number 1? Come on.
So much like Rando pulled a trick out of Frieza's book by stepping out of the pool of water, the swamp, after getting hit with a spirit gun, Byaku pulls a Cell Jr. and pulls like his hairs out and makes like little beasts to fight for him.
Yeah.
Which Kuwabara, again, tribute to Kuwabara for being able to come up with this plan while being assaulted on all sides, has the genius idea to have them follow him back and spear them with his sword in a line.
Skewer. Kebab.
And then and then trap them in a circle so they can't
human centipede out the crap out of those wolves. Like
So like that's legitimately intelligent.
Hey, my boy,
Like
gonna put it
Kuwabara
out there.
knows his things. Like it's just he's smart. He's really smart. He's really like he's a great character and nobody believes in him.
He's the best character.
But the fact that Byakko can absorb energy does not bode well for somebody who primarily uses energy as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, judging by everyone's reaction to Kuwabara's ability to manipulate his spirit sword, including the villains are also just as surprised as the heroes. It seems like the idea of an energy weapon rather than an energy infused weapon, like a weapon made entirely from energy,
Yeah.
is a fairly unique ability.
When he remember before they got up there, he was flexing about, look, I got this sword.
Yep.
I can make it longer. It was like,
Yep.
my boy's been busy.
That's
6
what
months.
we're saying. Like, he's been training. Like, he's been practicing with all this
They
stuff.
didn't show his training, I don't know, flashback. Pisses me off. Because we knew that he used like that piece of wood.
Right.
And he was probably like, I don't need that piece of wood anymore. Oh.
Right.
So
I don't
we
know
can
that
generate it now.
I don't know that he ever really did need it, because even Genkai was like, I'm surprised he hasn't turned this into a weapon yet.
He needed a piece of wood, right?
He
I
needed
think
it just to
that's the
show
one.
that he could do it.
Yeah, that triggered it. And then after that, like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
And so, thus finishes the episode. Things are about to get spooky. We're moving further into Byakko's lair. And on the next episode, we'll be going through the next 4 episodes of YuYu Hakusho.
It's gonna be fun.
And when we come back, we're going to have a bit of a conversation about different series and such that were influenced by YuYu Hakusho.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
We'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I did some digging. Welcome back. I did some digging and I found a couple of shows that were directly influenced, like, as said by their authors, directly influenced by YuYu Hakusho. And the list I have is as follows. The main ones that I found were Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen, Hunter x Hunter, and even like maybe Bungo Stray Dogs.
Could be,
Maybe.
but they didn't have a tournament arc per se, but
Okay.
they have a part there where each member had to go toe to toe with another character from the other faction. They did have that.
That was Bungo Stray Dogs.
Have you watched that?
I started watching it. I watched the
It's-
first episode,
It's pretty cool, man.
and it opens with the first thing it opens with is with a character deciding to commit suicide or that they're about to die, and then something happens and they can decide to continue on with their life.
Let's use the word unsubscribe from life.
Sure. They decide to unsubscribe from life, or they feel like they're gonna die, and then they something happens and they come back to life.
There's an OVA when you finish the first season, I think. You would hit an OVA and that it would explain why he's like that.
Okay, great.
It's awesome.
So starting with Bleach, so Bleach, here's its connection to to Yu Yu Hakusho. First of all, starts in the modern day, stars a borderline delinquent teenager who takes up challenges set by a supernatural bureaucracy, literally Yusuke, after a mix-up that gives him superpowers, and after a bunch of assignments in the real world, the heroes take on a brand new challenge in the supernatural world that is looked back on as the best arc of the series, that ends in something that is essentially a simultaneous win and lose for our heroes, and seamlessly leads into the next arc.
You know, I love how you use the term supernatural bureaucracy. Like,
Because that's what it is. That's what the
I mean,
Soul Society is.
is this what I'm going to in the afterlife? Like, hey man, like I've lived with that. Can I skip this part? Like, please? But
Can I
you're
just
right.
move on to the next adventure?
It is. It is.
It's
That's
literally
exactly what it is.
it's literally Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh my god.
So with Jujutsu Kaisen, the author Jiji Akutami has actually come out and said that he was a really big fan of Togashi. Now, eventually, we're going to get to territory in Yu Yu Hakusho,
Yeah.
which essentially enables a creator or character to create a space with certain rules have to be applied, which Akutami has actually said inspired the domain expansion side
Oh,
of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, he's come out and said that. And in some ways, it even feels like the idea of domain expansion, territory,
makes a lot of sense.
feels a little bit like JoJo.
That is
Now,
true.
I don't know if there is any real connection there, but it's something that's going to come up much, much later.
Are you all caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen?
I've read the manga up until now.
Okay, I think a
But
best example.
I know how the Shibuya incident ends.
Good. I think a good
Spoilers?
example is, what's the name of the girl with an axe there?
She has the big ponytail in front of her face.
Yeah. That girl.
Mimi, I think her name is.
Mimi, I think her episode fighting against this demon, that they get absorbed into the demon's domain.
Mhm.
You know, like she would repeatedly get encased in a coffin, and then it will
And
count
crushed
1
by
to
a
3,
rock.
and then crushed by a rock, right?
Yep.
You know, it's a good indication, like, okay, you're in my domain. There are rules here, and then she figure out the rule. So, yeah, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like each character who has domain expansion in Jujutsu Kaisen would have like a mini tournament arc for themselves. Like, you're in my domain. Here's the rules. Let's go. I'm like,
Yep.
oh,
Or
okay.
like a mini JoJo's villain stand user of the
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's pretty brilliant, man. That's pretty smart.
So you can't tell me, you can't look at somebody like Suguru Gato and tell me he's not just Sensui with more friendship.
Man,
We haven't got to Sensui yet, but
man, you called me. I was gonna say that.
he's
He's a social.
literally
This is a social sensui. He's more
Yes.
social.
Yes, 100%. Now with Hunter x Hunter's Nen system, so
One
in
of
Yu
the,
Yu Hakusho,
if I might say, best power systems in the whole anime. But me personally, I like the Nen system.
it's incredible. It's incredibly
It's
layered and it's
great.
so diverse and it has so many different things.
And
that
it's
can...
clear. It's very clear how they explained it.
Right. And so with some of the powers that we've seen with Yu Yu Hakusho, it kind of feels like you can see the building blocks of something like the Nen system. Because we've seen so many like different abilities in Yu Yu Hakusho, and we're gonna see a lot more.
No, look at it this way. Here's a good example. Let's take Yosuke. Let's put him in the world of Hunter x Hunter, right?
Yep.
I think he's an emitter type hunter.
He's
Because he
well,
shoots. He's an emitter.
I would think he's an emitter and an enhancer. Are they close to each other on the thing?
On that, there's a hexagon, right?
Yeah.
If you have 2 or more, I think 2 or more, I'm actually called a specialist. But I think he is an emitter and an enhancer.
Mhm.
Could be. It's kind of interesting how you can sometimes correlate
Well,
power systems, right?
right. And so, but something that we don't see much of, like the power system of Yu Yu Hakusho, from my understanding and from what I remember, is never really explained.
No.
It's something that just kind of exists along with the world, but increased strength comes as a result of becoming more aware of yourself, more comfortable in your emotions. and becoming more like aware of yourself.
True.
And so,
You
like,
know, yeah.
but you also had a list of shows that were inspired by
It's
Yu Yu
pretty
Hakusho.
short because like a lot of the popular ones were like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I want to backtrack to JoJo. How would you, let's say, a non-JoJo, a person that doesn't know JoJo, how would you explain the power system to that person?
So I would say I think I have explained this before. I've tried to explain this to people who are not
Mhm.
fans of JoJo and how to get them into JoJo. So parts 1 and 2 are
Hamon.
buff bros performing solar powered breath karate.
Okay, it's not
Okay.
wrong.
Nope. And then from part
Buff
3
bros.
onward, I would say it was increasingly androgynous men and women performing possibly alien origined breath powered ghost karate.
That's a lot to take in, man.
That's JoJo's.
Jesus. Okay.
That's how I would describe JoJo's to people who have never seen JoJo's before.
Okay. Possibly ghost breath powered karate.
Possibly alien originated ghost breath powered ghost karate. Because you can't use your stand if you can't breathe.
That is true. Huh, I should. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, things that I think are kind of inspired by Yu Yu Hakusho. Shaman King.
Okay, tell me about it.
So, Shaman King is an anime about this kid called Yo Asakura.
Mhm.
So, this person, he basically can see ghosts, right? And then he met this ghost of a samurai called Amidamaru, and then he becomes a sword. So, basically, your spirit buddy partner becomes your weapon.
Okay.
So he has buddies like this guy Rentao, I think is his name.
Mhm.
He has a ghost of this Chinese warrior who uses a pole arm with a flat blade on the end. The other guy has a snow ghost. His weapon is a snowboard. And then the other guy is a chameleon bancho haunting a bowling alley. Yep, you heard me right.
Okay.
And they have a tournament art, pretty much the same. What else?
Similar to the Dark Tournament?
Uh, Kinda, because
Okay.
they want to like be the shaman king and have control over all these spirits. I'd say
Mhm.
that is inspired by Yu Yu Hakusho. Newer generation anime inspired by Yu Yu Hakusho. I wouldn't say it's kind of that. How do I say it? It's there's not a lot now because like I mentioned earlier, right? Like anime has eras. Like back then, let's say. Mm, 50s, 60s, there were anime series like called The Dog of Flanders. It's an adaptation of a European novel, I think. What else?
They were more adapting existing
Yeah,
properties into anime.
exactly. Like Western
Okay.
fairy tales and stuff like that. And then they transitioned into oh, they have sports animes back then too, like Captain
Mhm.
Tsubasa, Champion Joe.
Mhm.
Sports anime was all the rave. So, there's an era for each anime. And then 80s, early 90s, mecha was the thing,
A
I'd
lot of
say.
mecha came out in that
Lots of
time. Yep.
mecha came out.
Yep.
And then I'd say now we're on the isekai era.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And what you're
there's a
seeing as
lot of
well,
isekai anime right now.
what you've seen as well in the past is that, yes, the main point I think we're trying to make in this episode so far is that no series is created in a vacuum. Everything is inspired by something else. So like Yu Yu
Yeah,
Hakusho takes a lot of inspiration from Dragon Ball and takes a lot of inspiration from Saint Seiya, for example.
exactly.
And
Saint
Saint Seiya
Seiya, man.
takes a lot of inspiration from Astro Boy, like as like
Yep.
superhero stuff. Um, but Saint Seiya is like a group of 4 or 5 young people
Hmm.
who have mythical powers and use it
Yep.
to protect the world.
Zodiac powers.
And Yu Yu Hakusho is 4 or 5 people, young
Mhm.
people with mythical powers protect the world. Bleach is 4 or 5 young people have mythical powers
Yeah.
and save the world. Jujutsu Kaisen, 7 or 8 young people have mythical powers and protect the world. Like, this is something that is existed since the dawn of anime as a medium, and stories like that are stories that we've been telling for generations. Yes, Superman may be the first superhero, but you know, Perseus of the ancient Greeks.
Yeah.
Like, we've been telling stories about young people with superpowers protecting the world for literal centuries.
Yeah. Also,
And
a good thing on that one is like the storytelling. I mean, it's not bad to like have a hero because it's a genre that people like, right?
it's worked, it's sold, it's given people ideas to strive for. It's
Mm-hmm.
given people a light in dark times of our history.
Mm-hmm. But like it's rare. Like this is like on the flip side of things. We're talking about like Yu Yu Hakusho, hero saving the world. What animes were inspired by it? On the flip side, there are animes that you like the bad guy.
Mhm.
You know what's a good example of that? Have you seen Tanya the Evil?
Nope, but you're gonna tell me about it.
Man, you should watch that.
Okay. Tanya
He
the Evil.
he basically is an isekai. He got unalived by getting pushed into the train tracks by one of these employees that he fired, and
That's gruesome.
he was reborn into an alternate world as a girl, and I don't know, for the lack of a better term, you know that guy with a mustache who led the Axis back then?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Is he
she
Fantasy H-Man?
no, he's not Fantasy H-Man. It's the setting was like H-Man's regime.
Oh
But
no.
there's no H-Man there. But he, who was reborn as a baby girl, she, he is the main
She.
character, and she hates God, and
Well,
God is messing around with him because God wants to like get a lesson across.
teach them a lesson.
But she is just a really cruel piece of. It's like,
Okay.
you should watch this.
All right.
You're
I'll check
like,
it out. I'll check it
you'll
out.
be
Now,
like,
I do typically have
a
the
watch list.
Helga House rule.
Mm-hmm.
No isekais, no harems.
You should check this out. This is
But
different.
maybe I'll check this out.
It's. I was like, huh.
Now, do you have anything else you want to add to the end of this episode? Because we're going to start wrapping it up.
Let's plug like what other animes are we watching at the moment that we like. Me, you heard about Solo Leveling, right? You read a lot of manga.
I've heard about it. Yeah. You're watching that?
I've never picked up it's a manhwa. I think it's Korean.
Mm-hmm.
I never picked the manhwa up, but I gave the first 4 episodes a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go to bed around 11.
Oh no.
I went to bed around 2.
Oh, that's not so bad.
It's bad. I wake up at 6.
Oh, that's bad.
So that's what I'm watching. I'm surprised it's really good.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't really had the most time. I fell down in It's Always Sunny hole.
Oh no, that's hard to get out, man. It's
It's
one of those holes, dude. You gotta fight tooth and nail to get out of that hole.
You really do.
Oh man.
It's a lot.
How
I'm
far
on
are you?
season 7.
No.
I'll come out the other side eventually.
You're that far already. You might as well keep trucking.
I may as well finish it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's a lot.
It's longer than Big Bang Theory, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I fell into the Big Bang hole one time, and
That's a dark one.
yeah,
That's a dark hole.
I was like, oh.
That's kind of all I've been watching because I've been busy. And if you stick around and if you're part of the Patreon, I got a story to tell you at the end of the episode, which is one more reason for you to subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/HelgaHouse. There you get full extended episodes and uncut episodes of every single show we do here at Helga House Productions, including this one and our other show, Let's Jam, which is all about Cowboy Bebop. And you'll be the first to know about all the new shows that we're working on. You'll hopefully, eventually, I say this every time, hopefully real soon, we'll have some Patreon exclusives up there. You'll be the first to find out about Helga House merch, and all of that can be yours at patreon.com/Helga House. If you are watching this show on our YouTube channel, dropping a subscribe, a like, and a nice comment is a really great way for us to get noticed, because the algorithm doesn't always notice longer form content like what we are creating here. And if you are listening to the show on your favorite podcasting app, follow us there and leave us a nice review.
Yeah.
So, if you have anything else you want to add?
I just don't want it to snow anymore. I'm pretty done with it. That's it.
Fair enough. My name is Scott.
My name's Ollie.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Catch you later.
This show was proudly produced by Helga House Productions. For more shows like the one you just listened to, visit helgahouse.com.